Okay, I think we are on now. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here doing another live. Please say hi in the comments, and also if you have any questions or any other comments, please write them in. The questions that you guys have and the comments really help me to kind of guide these discussions, which is, I think, is so um, important because I think it makes it much more meaningful for you guys as well. So please write them write them in, and that will just kind of make this much more useful and meaningful for you guys. Okay, so last week we spent, our time talking about the different sensory systems, and we also looked about how these sensory systems, how they relate to which particular skills that we do. Now today, and I know that was kind of a lot to digest. Um, yes, hello Sarah, yay, welcome. And so today I want to talk about specifically the vestibular system. So hopefully by the end of this live, you'll be able to walk away and just really understand how important the vestibular system is, but also have the activities and the strategies and kind of the principles to do activities that support the maturity of this system. And I know, Sarah, you were kind of asking about that last week, so I'm so excited that you here this week. Okay, so when we think about learning, we usually think about kind of the intellectual and kind of the academic learning. However, this learning process can become really challenging if our children don't have kind of the underlying strong foundations. And hello, Tanya, Kira, and Tanya watching together. Yay! How exciting! Welcome. So, what I want to kind of tell you guys is how this vestibular system has, what kind of relationship it has on learning. And you'll be able to see that this vestibular system can really affect your child's reading skills, their writing skills, their ability to really sit still, and also even being more coordinated in a way that you're able to play sports and, put on the playground structures with friends. So it's very important, and if the vestibular system is not well developed, it can be a barrier for your child's learning. So hopefully with these tools today, you guys will be able to kind of implement these things and kind of really help and support your children in that. So quickly, a quick review of the vestibular system. So the vestibular system has the receptors in the inner ears, and it detects kind of the pull of gravity, but also lets you know where your head is in space. So if you are sitting upright or being upright, if you're being upside down, sideways, how fast, how slow you are moving, and in what direction. And what it really does, as you move through space, the vestibular sense is able to detect where your head is in space and what you're doing. So it's able to adjust your balance and your equilibrium. So you're able to kind of stay and not fall, not fall down, right? And so the vestibular system is really development, as I mentioned, for that balance. Now, if your child doesn't have that good, strong balance, then they'll be more clumsy, they'll be less coordinated, and that can really affect their ability to play all these different sports, to play on those play structures. And kids that also learn how to kind of are still learning how to maintain that balance, you will see them fidgeting and unable to sit still in their chairs. They'll be constantly fidgeting because their balance is not really mature. And the best way, if you want to get your child sitting still, and it sounds kind of contradicting, but you need to get them moving, because through movement you will be strengthening that vestibular sense, and that vestibular strength sense is responsible for developing of the kind of the strong balance. And in a few minutes, I will be talking about kind of the specific activities that are responsible for doing that. So balance, that's what it does, as well as posture. It helps you, because it holds you up against gravity. So it really helps you to develop that kind of the strong core and, postural control. So if you don't have a very strong, if you don't have strong vestibular system, those things are affected, which means your child will be slouching when they're sitting down. They might be resting their head on their hand. So they won't really be paying attention because their bodies are just so much weaker. And if you do have that weak core and weak postural control, then it does really affect your development of fine motor skills. So to be able to use our hands freely, we need to have the stability in our core. Because then the core holds you stable, and then you're able to use your hands to accurately and easily do all those fine motor things. So the posture, that kind of if it affects the fine motor skills, then in turn it will affect of how easily your children write, how easily they're able to use these scissors, and how easily they're able to do all those different craft things. Now, the next thing is there is a relationship. Oh, Melody's here as well. Hello, Melody. Welcome. The next thing that the vestibular sense affects is really there is a relationship between the alertness and concentration. So movement is able to also wake up that thinking brain, and it really helps to kind of get kids back on task. And so really the alertness and focus can be affected by the vestibular sense as well. The next thing that the vestibular sense kind of affects is the controlled eye movement. So there's a connection between the vestibular sense and the eyes. And without a good and strong vestibular systems, our vision would be a little bit more unsteady and kind of shaking. But it also helps with the coordination of our eyes. And we need for our eyes to be able to work together, and because that really is essential for writing and reading. I mean, imagine if your eyes are not working together and the words are kind of jumbling across the page, then your reading and writing is affected. And actually, I think 1 out of 4 kids have challenges with their vision. So that's just kind of a interesting statistic. And kind of the last thing that the vestibular sense does help to kind of develop is the bilateral coordination. Now, the bilateral coordination is essential for developing the dominant hand. So you need to have that dominant hand to then be able to make that hand stronger so that writing becomes much more easier. So hopefully you're able to kind of see now the link between kind of the vestibular system and the connection that it has on your child's ability to read, write, sit still, and kind of and be able to participate in sports and being active with their friends. So you're probably thinking now, okay, but how? How do I get my child to strengthen their vestibular system? The answer is through movement. Movement that is frequent and when moving in various ways. So what do I mean by that? Basically, you want to provide movement experiences that change the head position, right? So you can do movement activities where a child is sitting up, when the child is lying down on their tummy, lying on their back, side lying, standing, being upside down. So you want to be moving. And I always am a huge fan of swings, because even on the swing, you'll be able to see your child or encourage your child to do different things. You can change the head position. You can do the normal sitting upright, right? then you can have them lying on the tummy and kind of, kind of moving. You can even get them to lie down on their back, so their back is supported by the rubber seat, and then hold on to kind of the chains. Yes, they won't be doing the full swinging, but they even just movement as they kind of walking with their feet back and forth, that really supports it as well. You can do standing up on the swing, right? Obviously, it's not a big, but they're kind of standing on the swing and kind of like trying to maintain the balance. Great for that core support as well. And upside down, kind of lying on the tummy and the head really going down and even kind of swinging. So yeah, you probably can't do side lying. Maybe you can on the swing, but swings is kind of so wonderful. Now, saying that, I'm not saying that every activity that you do has to have the head changed in all these different positions. It's just that you want to have activities throughout the day that change that head position, right? Then you want to have different types of movement. So you had the head changing, and now we're talking about movements that, let's say, are linear, okay? So linear is movements that kind of go, back and forth and up and down, right? So back and forth could be like biking, could be scootering, going up and down. So think about up and down, jumping, right? Jumping on a trampoline, or just normal jumping, or jumping on a couch, if you're okay with that. So that's kind of the linear. Then you want to have the angular movement, which is really changing, right? So this way or around this way. So angular movement is about, swinging is a great idea, because you don't go swinging in a straight line. You actually go up and down, right? So that's angular. Then you want to be going, looking at movements that are sustained. So what that means is they kind of go in rhythm, and it's the same movement. So sustained swinging, again, a great kind of, because you pretty much just go, if you're swinging normal upright position, that's pretty much what you're doing. Then there is the kind of what's called transient movement. So this is where your directions and things kind of change. So it could be if you put them on the merry-go-round, and then they're spinning one way, and then you stop, and then you start spinning them the other way, and then you stop. Or even playing chase, where you're kind of running, and then you stop, and then you move in a different directions, and then you go again in a different directions. That's stopping and starting. That's kind of changing it. And then we want to look at movement that is slow. Slow is also very calming and great to kind of soothe somebody and calm somebody down. And we probably all do this very naturally. If a child's upset, they sit down in your lap, and then you just slowly kind of rock them back and forth or side to side. So that's very kind of slow and calming. And then you want to have movement that's also fast. So fast movement is, going down the, down the hill. On a bike, or running is very fast. Merry-go-round, kind of, those are kind of the fast movements. So you want to have, and that's kind of the principles that I want you guys to be thinking when you're thinking about activities. It's all movement, but movement with different types of movement and different types, head in different positions. Because every time you move the head into different position, it actually activates different parts in the ear, and that's what we want to kind of do. Now, when we're talking about specific activities, so obviously I've kind of mentioned some as I was going through the different examples, but playgrounds are great. You have swings, you have slides, you have a lot of kind of movable parts of equipment where they can spin on, you can jump on, you can climb on monkey bars and hang upside down. So lots of different opportunities there. You can go jumping on off curbs, jumping on trampolines, jumping on beds and couches. Riding bicycles or scooters, rolling down the hill, such an excellent activity that I think is becoming a little bit forgotten. And so rolling down the hill, really great. Plus, I think that movement of rolling It actually also activates the kind of rotation in your kind of abdomen, which is so important for a strong core as well. So any kind of rolling activities are really great. Rocking or bouncing on those big exercise balls if you have them, and you can do all sorts of different head positions on an exercise ball as well. Playing on a rocking horse or rocking chair. Yoga is great because your head is moving in all different types of directions. Downward dog and things like that. Um, we do a lot of kind of body bowling in here as well. So what I mean by that is, I would collect some, cardboard boxes, and then my kids would create different kind of structures with it, and then get them um, rolling on the floor to actually knocking them over. So, you get the vestibular stuff, you get the kind of rotation in the middle part of your body. So those are kind of great things. Um, Swinging in a hammock, running different directions, use of use of self as well is great. You can do spinning, you can do dancing, you can do different upside down things. There's a lot of spinning games, and I think that the spinning games, I think it reminds me. Um, I've seen people kind of doing a thing where they would just spin their kids for a very, very, very long time. And I would actually strongly encourage against that. So spinning is great. It's just not for an extended period of time, because what happens is you can actually overload the sensory system. So, when the system starts being overloaded, you might see kind of the dilation of the pupils. You might see kind of that damp sweating. Um, it might even go up to the extreme of, kind of throwing up. So if you do, kind of see that, your child's sensory system kind of overloaded a little bit, what I recommend, because you need to kind of counteract that. So if you have like some ice and put it here on the wrist, or at the back of their head, or on their temples, that helps to counteract. Or, you can get them, if you don't have that around, if you're on the playground and your child has just been spinning, 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 and then kind of got overloaded, you can counteract it by a use of a different sense. So you would kind of get them to jump, but jump like kind of really hard. And when they kind of really stomp hard, they stimulate kind of that proprioceptive sense, which I'll be talking about next week. And that sense helps to counteract the vestibular sense. So just some kind of strategies to keep in mind. Then, you can do stuff if you already, let's say, if your child likes to play bowling, you can kind of modify that game by doing something different. Like you can lie on the tummy and do bowling. You can stand in the crab position and do bowling, or you turn around and you kind of go upside down and bowl with the ball in between your legs. So there's a lot of ways you can even modify games that your kids are already doing. If you have that exercise ball, you can get them sitting on that exercise ball while throwing something into a target, such as socks into a laundry basket is another idea. And of course, obstacle courses, and they could be just one or two little things or bigger. You can do them inside the house or outside in nature or on the playground, but you kind of want to involve kind of that change in the head position. So, crawling, jumping, going over and under things, walking backwards, hopping, skipping, jumping, all those kind of different things. And the more you do these activities, these movement activities, that's every time it's activating that vestibular system. And when that vestibular system is activated, then it becomes stronger every single time, and the information is processed and organized much easier, and your kids are able to challenge themselves, and then they're able to develop those skills of the balance, posture, the controlled eye vision, and the bilateral coordination, all those essential things. So that's very important. And I think, sorry, I just got a little question here. Okay, I see somebody, Sarah, talking about what are your thoughts on the wobbly stools? I wobbly stools is good. You're saying that that he is moves a lot in the kid chest to the point of breaking. So I think we always think about like why is somebody doing the certain behavior. So if your child is wobbling and moving a lot in the seat, there's two different things. One thing is that his vestibular system. Actually, this will be great for you because his vestibular system could be more immature. So what he's doing is he's actually moving to kind of the balance may not be perfectly developed, but also the movement it's activates part of the brain, the it's called RAS, and it's responsible to kind of keeping alertness. I mean, getting the a child or an adult alert. So he's kind of stimulating that part of the brain by moving. So he is waking that part up and saying, "Okay, I gotta focus." So the movement, I feel like it definitely is helping your child to focus. So if you take away his movement, he will, might he might actually have a harder time to pay attention. So there's few different things that you can do. Those wobbly stools, I'm not sure if you're talking about. I mean, there's the T stools. There are there are some that I've seen around, which kind of have like the feet a little bit more curled, and that is that actually they're actually made for rocking. I've heard really good reviews. That I heard really good reviews about them from other OTs as well. Um, and we can connect as well outside of this live, and we can talk about this a little bit more about specific equipment. But if his balance is okay, and if he's activating more to kind of stay alert, you can even get those big exercise balls, and just to kind of test it out. And then for them to be not moving around everywhere, you can get a cardboard box and kind of cut out a little space for them with the lips on the side, so the ball is kind of secured, so it doesn't move around, but it still kind of gives him the movement. I was also thinking about the move and sit cushions, but may not necessarily work if you're thinking that your child is needing that movement so much. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think definitely kind of those chairs that support his movement, I think will be definitely beneficial. And as you say, remote learning, they staying online so much more, and they're not getting much stimulation from anything else. Where we've already had like a talk about the multisensory, how that's so important. So a lot of kids are struggling with staying on Zoom calls for an extended period of time. So yeah, I think definitely a chair that really supports his movement would be beneficial for him. Okay, but that was a great question, Sarah, and thank you for asking. And I think that's mainly what I really wanted to talk to you guys about today. And I think the important thing that I really do want you guys to walk away with is, you know, the movement activities that I want your kids to do is, I want them to move frequently as much as possible, especially if they're sitting and doing so much remote learning. You want to spend the rest of the time getting your kids out and moving, and also moving their heads in different directions. So if, for example, your child loves biking and that's all I want to do, that's great because they're moving, but there's not much change in direction when you do that. So you also want to encourage different types of movements. So, going down the slide, or, going swinging, or, going climbing. So you want to kind of make sure that the movements are different. And, to kind of have a think about what your kids are already doing and what they like, and if you need to kind of tweak it a little bit, or, going for a walk, finding hills and just getting them rolling down those hills. Yeah, so hopefully you guys did find this useful information. I so appreciate you guys coming and listening. And if you have any other questions also afterwards, feel free to message me through Sensory Lifestyle. I get to all those questions as well. And yeah, again, I appreciate you guys coming, and have a wonderful day. And next week I will be talking about the proprioceptive sense. So that's the kind of the next sense, and hopefully I will see you guys there. Again, Thank you so much and take care. Okay, bye.